Yeah, thank you to Mo for the invitation, and I'll take this opportunity to thank the Welsh Government as well for their support over the years. I'm going to be discussing recent outputs from the Language Technologies Unit at Bangor University. Bangor University is located in North Wales. It's the area where there are most Welsh speakers today, probably, and it's a university where a lot of the teaching for Welsh speakers occurs through the medium of Welsh as well. I'm going to give you a rushed overview, in a way, of a lot of the different technologies that we've developed over the years. So just to give you a little bit more background, the Language Technologies Unit has a team of 8 linguists and 5 developers, and we work on a variety of different technologies and a range of modalities, be they text, speech recognition, or synthetic speech as well as translation. And our objective really is to facilitate the use of Welsh within digital environments and to create products and services that end users can use and to enrich their daily lives. So we have 2 kinds of basic outputs, really. We create the building blocks that people from international companies, local companies, to ourselves as well as creators of software services and products can use in their products. So things like lexicons, language models, but also the training data to train those language models. So we make all of this available as much as we can under permissive open source licenses. So that includes corpora, but also the voice recordings for text-to-speech voices, that kind of thing. The second kind of output is are the products that users use in their daily lives, things like apps and web services, so dictionary apps, grammar checking apps, that kind of thing. Here's just a quick example of where we started. A lot of the work was with creating terminology dictionaries. And if you look carefully, this is the interface that you saw in the Cornish slides as well. So we provide the interface for the Cornish language dictionary, although they provide the data and work on the data themselves. The other major piece of software that we have and we offer online for free and as a commercial product as well is this spelling and grammar checker, which is available online. So this can correct grammar mistakes as well as spelling mistakes, so it can fix your erroneous mutations, for example. And this is an example of how we've used the data to create an app version of some of these dictionaries. So app-gated means dictionaries app, because this features a number of technical dictionaries as well as more general purpose Welsh to English dictionaries. We've also been able to take the data further and create a kind of a dictionary, a rollover dictionary for websites. So here what you do is you click on a button on the website and that activates the underlining that you see in green, and you can just roll over a word and see a dictionary entry pop up from our dictionaries. And this is a service that we provide, but we also provide the code, and it's an example of how we're reusing the data. But under that, we also have part-of-speech taggers working to be able to disambiguate which of the dictionary entries that are relevant. For instance, in the word before gwefan, the first word, mai, that can be a mutated form of the word by, meaning be in Welsh. But here it's a verb, so it's completely unrelated, and we can make sure that we just show the appropriate dictionary entry there. So we've been moving our part-of-speech tagging infrastructure and the NLP infrastructure over to Spacey. Sorry, the top of the slide has been clipped off here, but Spacey is a Python library that's used a lot in industry. So what we've developed are the components along the pipeline here. So things like the tokenizer, the part-of-speech tagger. We've been working on a dependency parser based on Johannes Heineke's work. We've got named entity recognition models as well as part of that pipeline. And those help us improve the quality of the services and products that we provide. So back to the apps, and one of our recent apps is a kind of demonstrator of some of the latest technology that we've been developing. So Maxen is our version of, it's kind of Welsh Alexa, and this features a number of skills, just as Alexa has a number of different skills. So hopefully this will work now.
Chwaraea fiwsig gan Llewen. Gan Llewen.
Ma'r gwreiddiau'n dal gaffa ar y Prys. Mae'r byd yn dal droi.
So that was an example of the Spotify skill within the Maxen app. So that's using speech recognition to identify the name of Llewen, who's an artist from my home village that's actually living in Brittany at the moment and has learned Breton, which is quite cool. But obviously Alexa isn't very good at recognizing Llewen's name because it has the letter in it. So that's something that we can do within Maxen. But we've been able to take the speech recognition forwards now to be a general transcription speech recognition model. This is the online version of Maxen now. This isn't the app version that I showed you, which is available for Android and iOS. So this is another video that'll, this is live online for you to use should you want to. So this is a transcriber, so I'll just click on play.
Diolch am y gwahoddiad i ymuno efo chi yng Nghaernarfon heddiw. Gobeithio cael gyfle i ddal fyny eto cyn bo hir.
So we're not actually in Carnarvon today, but this is really for another event. But you can see, if you can read Welsh, that's quite a good quality representation of what was said. We've also incorporated the models that we've trained. We have OpenAI Whisper-based models as well as WAV to VEC models. The best ones get a word error rate of about 7%, which is quite high. But we've incorporated these within an interface that allows you to fix the transcripts and then export an SRT subtitle file, so you can subtitle YouTube videos in Welsh and upload the subtitles. Moving on to text-to-speech, we've created a number of different voices in Welsh using neural technology. So this demonstrates, I think, 3 different voices.
Nid yw lleisiau testun I leferydd yn dechnoleg newydd.
Ond yn ddiweddar, rydyn ni wedi hyfforddi cenhedlaeth newydd o leisiau niwral sy'n swnio'n naturiol iawn.
Yr hyn sy'n newydd am y lleisiau hyn yw eu bod nhw'n rhai dwyieithog. Hynny yw, un model sy'n gallu siarad 2 languages, not as separate voices, but as 2 ochr yr un geiniog.
A hynny i adlewyrchu'r ffordd dan ni actually yn iwsio'r Gymraeg bob dydd.
So the novel thing there is that these are bilingual voices, so one model that speaks 2 languages, and that's really necessary because we mix our languages in everyday speech. We'll switch to talking in English possibly, but we'll also use English words and phrases within our Welsh, and we'll code switch and use Welsh verbs such as developio, where we've just added yo to the end of to develop in English. So we see this as the way forward, really, to be developing bilingual models across the different modalities. So we've been lucky as well to work with OpenAI and have support from them. So we've been able to bring these different technologies together with ChatGPT to create something that's more than the technologies by themselves. So this Cynorthwya, this is a voice assistant that you can use on the website. So I'll give you a demo here.
Pa gastell sydd agosaf at Gaernarfon?
Y castell agosaf at Gaernarfon yw Castell Beemrys yn Ynys Môn.
Castle is the closest to Caernarfon, and it's mistakenly thought that the closest castle to Caernarfon is in Beaumaris. I think that's a kind of semantic issue where possibly you could say that Caernarfon Castle is included in Caernarfon. I'm not sure, but it underlines the fact that we've had to put this disclaimer at the bottom saying, you know, that this has been generated by GPT for it might not be an accurate answer that you get, but it's still very impressive in terms of where we were maybe 5 years ago with a language such as Welsh, that this is entirely happening with Welsh. The answers that you get in Welsh when you're asking questions to ChatGPT are usually worse than the similar answers that answers to similar questions that you would ask in English. So that's worth bearing in mind as well. Maybe this one will be a little bit easier for some to understand. So this is an example of the fact that the model is, the speech recognition model is bilingual as well. So here it'll be understanding an English sentence and translating into Welsh.
Although I am similar to Alexa, I can speak English and Welsh.
Er fy mod yn debyg I Alexa, gallaf siarad Saesneg a Chymraeg.
So there you can see that once again, by connecting different components together, you get a service that's pretty useful. And what we have there is the speech recognition passing the text to our machine translation model that's then translating the text from English into Welsh. And that's something that's going to be really handy for the upcoming years for Wales, I think. So this comes back to your question. So we have a website called Cofion, which is memories, as in translation memories.techiaeth.cymru, where we've gathered together a lot of parallel translation files, TMXs, and we provide those for download, and they're open source licensing. We're also in the process of scraping websites that are OGL, Open Government Licensed, and to create parallel data sets from websites that are publicly available. It is quite difficult to get data from public sector bodies at times because they're worried about privacy issues and copyright and that kind of thing. But we've also been able to use the data to train the actual machine translation. So this is a machine translation demo site where we've created subject-specific or domain-specific models for health and legislation. So here you can see the results of me typing cases of the flu and other viruses are higher during the winter months, and this is the output that you see in the Cymraeg in Welsh. What we've also been able to do is to feed those models through to the software that translators use to translate. So this is WordFast here. So translators actually translate in this kind of interface. And you can see down here that from custom MT, it's given the translator a possible translation to use. So that's making the models available in a real-world setting where they help translators with their work. But of course, what we've seen in the past year or two is the explosion with AI and large language models, LLMs, So what we've tried to do is an initial evaluation of GPT-3. I think that was GPT 3.5 and GPT-4 and its capabilities with Welsh. So we created a number of different evaluations. A simple one is just the ability to recognise that word is Welsh. And you can see that the pattern throughout is that GPT-3 isn't quite as good as GPT-4. There are different yeses and nos available in Welsh, so you kind of answer with the verb, you repeat the verb back. So that's an important thing, and it's quite an obvious deficiency in ChatGPT's ability at the moment, so we've been looking at that. Obviously, if we want to use these chatbots in the classroom, then they have to be appropriate for use, so we've looked at the ability to recognise swear words. We've got bilingual place names in Wales, and they struggle with those quite a bit. Maybe offering a literal translation rather than the actual translation. And we've looked at whether or not it can identify grammatical correctness. Now, with the Welsh legislation translation, what we've done here is try and fine-tune GPT 3.5, and these blur scores, that's the standard metric used with machine translation. And what we found was we could take GPT 3.5 and by supplying parallel translation examples, 50,000 of them, if you see the line with gloss, that's an added glossary of terms. We were able to actually get GPT 3.5 to perform better than GPT 4 by just fine-tuning the model. That's important because GPT 3.5 is 4 times cheaper to use per token than GPT-4. However, our own neural network machine translation, the more traditional, it's strange to think that's kind of old technology now, but that performs significantly better and is significantly cheaper at the moment. But possibly GPT models will allow for greater stylistic variation and for you to be able to guide the kind of translation that you want in the future. So that's definitely something for us to be keeping an eye on. So just to wrap up, the challenges, and we've maybe touched on some of these, the main challenges that we've had really is the legalities of harvesting data. We used to harvest data from Twitter, for example, and redistribute that, but we've had to stop doing that because they've changed the terms of and conditions, and they've done that gradually. And we are finding that we are a little bit constrained here in the UK compared to companies operating in the US. We have fair dealing as a law here rather than fair use, and it's more constrained, and within the context of a university, we can't just decide that we are going to republish the Twitter corpus, because Twitter will take away Bangor University's Twitter account or the X account, and that'll make us very unpopular with the university, I would imagine. So the copyright licensing, privacy concerns as well are issues when we're trying to get data from our partners in the public sector. I'm sometimes embarrassed when we present Welsh as being a less resourced language, because I think we have lots of resources. We just need to make them available, really, and that's a very difficult conversation to have, and we need to do it properly, I think, and to bring partners with us. So data content is the other problem, really, is that a lot of the easiest to access texts are of a specific type of Welsh, and we need more variety in what we have. And with the newest models, the speech recognition models, we are now finding that we have to cope with words that have never been in our dictionaries. they're either dialectal or have not been considered to be good enough Welsh to have been added to dictionaries. So we need to take into account the fact that we have gaps in our lexicons. We also need to harmonise more between our different technologies, between even the tokenizer and the lexicon. They need to be well aligned so we can use our word embeddings properly. The use of tag sets, that's also difficult because we have different tag sets for our parser, the dependency parser that we've been using, and the part of speech tagger. But I think most important of all is to ensure that we meet the expectations of the users, and that we realise that we have to try and place Welsh within the environments that the users are operating in at the moment, and that means that it's really important to provide companies like Microsoft and Google with the ability to incorporate these technologies within their systems, or at least for them not to be able to say, oh, this is impossible, the technology doesn't exist. You know, I think that's really important. And we need to realise that users don't want to have to search in dark corners of the web to find the Welsh language pack. It has to be out of the box, ideally. And another reason for us to have multilingual models is to avoid forcing users to have to switch languages every time they want to. To go into the interface and select a different proofreading language every time they want to write an email to a different person in a different language. That's very infuriating, to be honest. So I think one of the things I wanted to underline here is that a lot of these challenges aren't necessarily technological challenges, they're legal or political challenges even, and those are a lot harder for us to solve, really. So I think maybe that's something for us to discuss amongst each other, really. I just want to end by giving you a list of resources. So again, we provide these resources. Most of them, the vast majority, are under permissive open source licenses, and they're available from GitHub. A lot of the models you can demo on Hugging Face. The European Language Grid is a good place to find a lot of different resources, and some of the websites that I've demonstrated are down at the bottom there. But do get in touch using the details at the bottom of the slides if you want more information about anything I've showed today. Thank you.
Good. So what I've done is I tried to put all that on this spreadsheet. So and it's just like a reminder to others in here that if they want to add that, so these are hopefully I can find it quickly. Right here. Yeah. So I've been adding any resource that comes up in the presentation. So might need updating, but yeah. So I've added nearly everything you said in there. So if you can also add any resources that you've got. So this is really interesting. So thanks a lot for bringing those to our attentions. Okay. So any questions to Gruff? Right. Okay. We need to have a coffee.
Just two very quick questions. The first one is, you showed the dictionary. Is the dictionary advanced enough so that you can click on the word and it can disambiguate the word within the context? This is the first question. The second question is, you showed evaluation of ChatGPT. Have you developed already large language models or deep learning models, at least for Welsh, or are you doing this now?
We are working to fine-tune large language models with a local company, and that's something that we are going to be doing. In terms of dictionary entries within context, that's what's happening in the website, the rollover website, because that provides you with the context to make that disambiguation. With our dictionaries, if you search for a word like mole, for instance, that can be like a small furry creature. If you search for a word, you'll be shown the different possible meanings for, say, mole, a unit in chemistry versus a small furry animal, that kind of thing. Or a seal.
Thank you for this very interesting presentation.
So, thanks a lot.
Thank you.